We are currently living through an era defined by a strange contradiction. While we have immediate, unprecedented access to the sum total of human information, the wisdom required to use that information for good remains remarkably scarce. Dr. Anupam R. Nagar dedicated his career to solving this specific problem. He spent 33 years moving through the academic system, not to simply lecture, but to find a way to reach the character beneath the intellect. His life became a case study in what happens when a student stops chasing a GPA and starts pursuing a change in their own nature. That pursuit began in the far northeast of India, amidst the ridgelines and heavy mists of Imphal, Manipur. Nagar grew up in a household where education was the primary value. His father was a respected university professor, and his mother spent her days teaching in a local high school. This environment acted as a sanctuary for his young mind. He was raised with a deep respect for books, research, and the rigorous intellectual discipline required to master complex subjects. Then, in 1982, a casual suggestion from a family friend led them on a pilgrimage to the Brindavan ashram of Sri Sathya Sai Baba. It was a brief visit, but it introduced a new spiritual dimension to their strictly academic lives. Curious tone, it set the stage for a fundamental question. If a traditional household can sharpen the intellect, what kind of institution does it take to prepare the soul for the actual trials of the world? In 1985, Nagar found the answer when he arrived at the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning in Puttaparthi. He walked into a campus that functioned as a spiritual crucible. The goal here wasn't just to produce employees, but to refine human beings through constant self-reflection and service. He spent his spare hours immersed in the writings of figures like Howard Murfitt and Professor N. Custori, thinkers who explored the intersection of the miraculous and the mundane. These texts provided a different kind of data. They offered a framework that pushed Nagar to look past the physical world and consider the moral consequences of his actions. He was learning to absorb wisdom that couldn't be quantified on a multiple-choice exam, preparing for a transition that went deeper than his resume. The most significant shifts happened during the campus awareness sessions, where Nagar received direct guidance from Sri Sathya Sai Baba himself. During these meetings, Baba shared a parable that compared the human soul to a football. He explained that a football is only useful when it is inflated with air, but a human soul works the opposite way. To be truly great, one must deflate their own ego. Nagar graduated having exchanged his intellectual pride for a functional humility. He was a young man who had undergone a total internal overhaul, and he was about to test that new identity in a very difficult environment. Nagar took his first professional teaching role in the isolated, rugged mountains of Nagaland. The change in atmosphere was jarring. Many of his new academic colleagues struggled with vices like smoking and heavy drinking, creating a culture far removed from the discipline of the ashram. Rather than criticizing them, Nagar simply lived his values. He stayed silent and stayed disciplined. Within months, several of his peers, moved by his example, voluntarily began walking away from those habits. He demonstrated that a teacher's most powerful lesson isn't what they say in a classroom, but how they carry themselves when the world is watching. In 2004, Nagar moved to Gujarat to fulfill a promise to his mother, eventually becoming the principal of Sri Jasani College in Rajkot. The institution was in a state of collapse. It had become a haven for academic fraud and student misbehavior, with a reputation for producing more troublemakers than graduates. Nagar immediately implemented a strict zero-tolerance policy. He contacted parents and enforced a strict code of conduct that directly threatened the status quo. The corrupt elements of the student body didn't take kindly to this new accountability. They began tracking his movements, waiting for a chance to stop the reforms. At 1:15 p.m., as he rode his bike home, 12 boys ambushed him. They attacked with crowbars, sticks, and brickbats, beating him relentlessly for over 5 minutes in broad daylight. He survived the attack. As he healed, his commitment to the college only deepened. He refused to let the violence derail the standards he was sent to uphold. Dr. Nagar's story proves that the real work of education is a disruptive, often dangerous process. It is the difficult journey of replacing a person's old habits with a new moral core, a process that ensures the light of wisdom can finally push back the darkness of ignorance.